Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to another webinar from SciSpace. Today we are going to explore the topic tackling bullying and physical violence in schools. So, in this brief and but impactful session, we'll delve into the challenges of bullying and physical violence that not only jeopardize students' safety but also profoundly impact their emotional well being as well as their academic success. Today, we'll explore the complexities of these issues, that their implications for school communities, and strategies to create supportive and safer environments for all students. Joining us today are esteemed experts who possess knowledge and experience in realm of mental health. Allow me to introduce our prominent speaker for the evening. Firstly, we have Ms. Yeja Chaudhary, who has been a mental health enthusiast since a very young age and is known for being vocal about her journey with body image issues as a storyteller in Spotify original podcasts, Dear Teenage Me, and various social media platforms. Ms. Yeja has her master's in clinical psychology from Christ University and is currently working as a psychologist at SciSpace. Then we have Ms. Dipshika Kalita, who has done her master's specialization in clinical psychology under Assam Downtown University and is currently working as a psychologist at SciSpace. Lastly, I am Alankrita Saikia. I have completed my master's in applied psychology from Nehring Group of Institution and I'm also currently working as a psychologist at SciSpace. I heartily welcome all our speakers. Thank you for dedicating your valuable time to be with us. I am certain that our viewers are eagerly looking forward to your enlightening discussion.
Thank you so much, Alankita. The introduction was so good. Thank you.
So, without further ado, let's delve right into our topic. So, my first question goes to Yeja ma'am. So, what is bullying, and how do you think bullying impacts the mental health and academic performance of students involved?
Okay. So, thank you so much for the question, Alankita. So, before like the whole topic that we are talking today about bullying is something that we get to hear on a regular basis in news, in social media, and even like some of us may have witnessed it, and some of our viewers and audience may have witnessed it, may have heard about it, or may have a close and experience with bullying. So before we understand and move ahead with the whole topic today, let's understand what bullying is. All right. So if I have to give you a definition, or if I have to give you the meaning of bullying, so bullying is a form of aggressive behavior, which is in which someone intentionally and repeatedly cause harm or injury to another person and causes discomfort. So whenever we talk about bullying, we always have to remember that if something happens unintentionally and it's for once or twice, that is not bullying, because these days the word bullying is being misused a lot of time, and through which people who are actually bullied, the victims of bullying, actually get subsided and they get neglected. So let's understand what bullying is first and foremost. So bullying is an aggressive behavior. All right, there are different forms of bullying which I'll come to it later, but bullying is an intentional, repetitive, and aggressive behavior which is done to a single person or a group of individual on a prolonged period of time or to a certain period of time. All right. So now the thing is that when something is done once and it is unintentional, we cannot consider that as bullying. All right, that can be an accident. The victim may perceive it as to be a bullying, but it is not bullying in nature. To be a form of bullying, it has to be aggressive in nature, it has to be repeated, and it has to be intentional. So intention is the main thing that we look whenever we speak about bullying. Moving ahead, there are different types of bullying. first and foremost type of bullying is physical bullying. When we talk about physical bullying, I think a lot of us have heard about, students who, punch one another, students pushes one another from the stairs, they kick one another. So basically, where physical harm is involved, that sort of bullying is considered to be physical in nature. All right. There's another type of bullying which is known as verbal bullying. In that, the person does not physically harm you, but he or she verbally expresses you or the group of people in a very demeaning way, in a very nasty way, through which the other person has proper discomfort and goes through significantly distressing thing. I mean, like feelings. All right. The third sort of bullying is social bullying. Now, what is social bullying? This is like we have not spoke about social bullying before, but basically, social bullying can be anything as simple as catcalling, you know, teasing someone repeatedly, ongoingly for a very long period of time, and then taunting someone, putting up inappropriate sexual comments on people, right? These are all social bullying, and even social bullying can also include spreading some sort of rumors, right, in the social in front of people and stuff like that. Now the last form of bullying is cyberbullying. Now due to the increasing use of internet and social media, cyberbullying is one of the most highly seen, sort of highly witnessed bullying these days. It can be as simple as a DM, it can be as simple as a comment, it can be as simple as a phone call. All right. The consequences of any sort of bullying is basically causing you discomfort, causing you a feeling of fear inside you, and basically defaming your name, or and in a way that you're mentally, you get a lot of effect after all of these things. So these are the types of bullying. All right. So, another part which Alankita asked me, like the mental health effect. All right. Now, if we see, like, whenever we talk about mental health effect, we have to see both side of the spectrum. And as one side is the party who are the bullies, who are bullying the victim. Another side is the victim. So, let's talk about the mental health effects of the victim first. All right. So, whenever a child undergoes bullying or undergoes bullying of any sort, be it physical, social, verbal, or cyber, any sort of bullying will cause the kid to have a very low esteem, self confidence, and stuff like that. All right. The another thing that we witness on day to day on our clinical setting is that children who have been bullied are very highly socially withdrawal. They don't like to involve with people. They like to withdraw themselves from people and from social gathering and stuff like that. They're very anxious in nature, and there are subsequently mood complaints as well from these sort of kids, because once you have been bullied, those thoughts, those negative episodes, or those negative thoughts keep on ruminating in your head again and again and again, which can cause a prolonged effect on your mood, leading to any sort of mood disorder, leading to anxiety disorders. The another effect is definitely stress and PTSD. Now, depending on the intensity of your bullying, all right, some kids do develop PTSD as well, all right. And PTSD has tremendous side effects on your regular functioning. Kids, significantly they deteriorate, and they significantly their regular functioning becomes very dysfunctional on a regular basis, who are going through a higher intensity of bullying. And the last set of mental health effect, that is suicidal ideation. When the bullying is to a very extreme intensity, and the kid is not being able to deal with it, share about what he or she is going through, and is very much embarrassed with whatever is happening, he or she may have suicidal ideation. And that is the highest, intensity of mental health effect. And it has been seen in a lot of kids that they do have suicidal ideation and tendency, because of whatever they're going through and the intensity of bullying that they're going through. So these are the mental health effects that a victim of bullying would have. Now, a lot of time we don't understand the bullies. We also need to understand the bullies as well. The bullies do have mental health, issues, or they do have certain sort of personality or certain sort of. They are kids basically, so I'm gonna say temperament. So they do have certain, mental health dysfunctioning in their behavior. So bullies tend to be very aggressive in nature. They are very, hot-headed. They're very aggressive. They tend to have, and if these sort of symptoms continues, they tend to develop conduct disorder or conduct problem, where in the future you can see the kid have very high, you know high ish, like they are very much not being able to cope and not being able to, settle with the everyday functioning of their life. They're too much rebellious, they too much break rules, and they have a higher intensity of, aggressive behavior. All right. So conduct disorder is something that we see in a lot of bullies. All right. Children who bully other, they do have some sort of conduct problem. Another thing, later in life, it can develop into, if we talk about long-term consequences, we can also see substance abuse. If a bully continues this pattern of behavior and this pattern of thought, the person can develop substance abuse. The person may have an antisocial personality later in life, because conduct disorder is the initial stage of becoming antisocial, developing an antisocial traits or personality, if not a complete personality, but you may have some higher traits in you which are antisocial in nature. So yeah, these are few of the, mental health effect and stuff like that. I think there was another part of the question which involves academic consequences as well, right, Alokita? Yes. So, coming to the academic consequences, I mean, it is for sure understandable that if a victim of bullying goes through all of these mental health consequences and effect, there is subsequently there's going to be significantly decrease in the academic performance, right? They are going to have a lot of issues in their academic performance. They will have school avoidance behavior and social avoidance behavior. Basically, the school, they would like to, they would like to not go to school. They would like to avoid the question of school. And whenever the topic of school or friends comes up, they are highly distressed with such topic, and they do not, and they don't like to get involved with the school authorities or the school friends, in short. And then, if we see the other side, the bullies, academic performance, even they would have a lot of disciplinary issues, because they would, because they tend to have a very rule breaking kind of behavior, and they tend to have a lot of, disciplinary problems in them. So even a bully would have certain academic consequences, and like there will be repetitive school complaints of their behavior issue or their disciplinary issue, and overall they have a negative outlook or attitude towards school, friends, and everything. So yeah, I think I explained more or less, in this short period of time. So what is bullying, the academic consequences, and what sort of mental health effect that happens in both the side, the bullies, and the victims of bullying. So yeah, Lankita, that's all from my side.
Thank you, Yeja ma'am, for your insightful input. And yes, I agree that as much as we pay attention to the victim, we need to also look, see and pay attention to the one who is bullying, because most of the time the bully comes from a particular family or a particular environment where the kid has himself has been like bullied by the parents or any elder sibling. So it is kind of a uh, play. It is kind of an act he has been like seeing, or he has been brought up in an environment where constantly he has been bullied, and so to let out his anger or his or her anger, the bully definitely chooses a victim and does the same things that is being done to him or her. So would Dipshika ma'am like to add anything?
No, I think Geja ma'am put it beautifully.
Okay. So now moving on to the next question. So, what are some of the most effective strategies or programs school can implement to prevent bullying?
Yes, Alamprita, that's a really good question, and I would like to go ahead with that question. First of all, as Yeja ma'am has explained about the importance of awareness about bullying. So, most of the time, the behavior that we see from bullying, it's taken very lightly by the parents also, by the teachers also. They're like, this is just, fun. The kid is just having some fun. It's his way of having some fun. So, by saying that, they think that like there is only like a short term effect of bullying, but the kid who is getting bullied, they have to, as the ma'am have said, they have to live with trauma, and this is going to hamper, going on, moving on in his adulthood also. So it's something that the schools also and the parents also need to take very seriously. So, while answering your question, I would like to first of all say that the schools, first of all, they'll need to have very clear policies about bullying. This is high time that they need to have those rules and regulations in place. They need to establish certain anti bullying policies, and not just the policies but also the consequences, like the consequences that they'll be facing if like those policies are violated. And then there obviously needs to be awareness programs for the students as well as the parents and also the staff. Everyone needs to be made aware about the implications of bullying. Then the school needs to create like a positive environment which not only has respect and also but also like inclusion of like maybe different communities, maybe different cultures and all. They need to teach the kids like the respect. In our in some of the schools also, like this is very evident that the upper class students, the students which come from like a upper class background, might discriminate the lower class students coming from the lower class background. So like there needs to be such an environment where like the students are taught to respect, like just they need to teach like about the basics of humanity, and the school need to promote that respect very very widely. Then there needs to be certain mechanisms, like suppose someone has been bullied, they can't go directly to a teacher, so there needs to be certain anonymous maybe forums, or maybe a school page or something where the victim can go and openly but anonymously report that. Then of course, like a school counselor is a must. School counseling services should be there in every school. Like this is we also like as mental health professionals have been talking about this for a long time. Like why school counselors are so important, and school counselors are important not just for the victims but for the bullies as well. Like that's the time, like childhood and teenage, that's the time where certain personality disorders develop, and that's the time where like intervention is required. So like a school counselor will definitely be helpful in that. And other than that, there also needs to be a committee, like a prevention committee for the bullying activities. Like they need to take everything like from the forums. If there's a report coming in, they need to take that, they need to take it seriously, they need to take it to the maybe to higher communities, to maybe to the board, and they need to come up with the strategies how to tackle. And then maybe if parents are required to involve, parental involvement is very much important. There is so much only the school can do. At the end of the day, I believe parents play a much bigger role. Schools play a bigger role, obviously, but along with the parents, like a collaborative effort would be the best of the school plus the parent. And that's why those awareness programs, those workshops are very important. And parental attendance in such workshops should be like made like very much necessary. So I hope that answers your question, Alankrita.
Thank you, Dipshika ma'am, for putting it wonderfully. And yes, I agree that it is very important for the parents specifically to listen whenever their kids or their children are coming to them and talking about the different bullying they have been facing at school. And when if like when the parents get involved, the child specifically gets a confidence, or feels like they are being heard. And then when like also schools should specifically take a great interest in addressing bullying, specifically like making the children or the students aware that bullying uh, is something which is a punishable offense, and they will get punished for that. Because nowadays it's a very common, bullying is really common nowadays. And most of the parents and the schools, they don't take any actions until and unless something happens to the child. And it is like an everyday thing now. And so the schools as well as the parents, they should like collaborate and talk about health, like whole meetings. The school communities should hold meetings where they specifically talk with the parents, and make the parents, also the parents need to be aware about the bullyings happening in schools. And also the children should also be made clear that their school or the home environment is a safe space for them, where they can talk about what they have been going through. Safe space is a very important thing, because if you don't listen to your child, later on they'll be like no, they'll feel like they are not being heard, and they might take extreme actions, which have actually happened in a lot of schools, and a lot of institutions. So would Yeja ma'am like to add anything?
No, Alamkrita, I think you and Dipshika has completely, in a proper way, have touched every point. So I think, yeah, I don't have anything to add anymore. It was beautifully expressed.
So coming to the next question, how can teachers and staff be trained to recognize and address bullying behavior?
All right. Alamkrita, I'd like to go forward with the question. So, when we talk about like, what are the things that the teachers and the staff or the institutions can do in order to tackle bullying and such behavior, first and foremost is very important is the awareness. Understanding that bullying exists. Not everything is fun. Not everything is just a little bit of mischief that kids have. Not everything is that. Some kids do have conduct problems. They do have traits in their personality, which I mean, like temperament, which are dysfunctioning in nature. All right. So in that case, yes, first and foremost is understanding and having the awareness, spreading the awareness of bullying. Because a lot of time, what happens is that even the school authorities and even the parents of the kid, even victims of bullying, they take it as fun. একো নহয় দিয়া, the kid was having fun, এবাৰহে কৰিছে, तुम्हारा भूल होबो पारे, you तुमने भी कुछ गलत किया होगा, या फिर कोई नहीं मजाक कर रहा था वो तुम्हारे साथ, stuff like that. All right, so we need to address, like, first and foremost, what I said, that bullying is a repetitive, intentional, and aggressive act, and it is done by pure intention. So we have to look out for these three things. If someone is doing things intentionally, repeatedly, and for a very prolonged period of time. So these three things are important, and these three, the understanding of these three things should be there for the institution, for the principals, for the teachers, and for the staff and the organization and institutes. All right. So first and foremost is understanding what bullying is and the awareness of bullying. That yes, bullying exists. The another understanding is like the impact of bullying. The what I said in the previously, the impact of bullying, not just the consequences on the victims, but also the consequences that bullies have. Right. The another thing is that recognizing the signs that someone is getting bullied, someone is getting bullied, we need to understand. Now what happens is that there are teachers and the institutional staff needs to look out for two main things, from the victim's point of view and from the bully's point of view. So signs which may include, in the victims, may be unexplained injuries, then social withdrawal, loss of self confidence, self esteem, then loss of or destroyed belongingness. They do not like to belong to the community. They don't like to have friends. They like to be tend to be alone and stuff like that. Changing eating habit, declining in grades in academic performance, then avoidance of social situation, and feeling of helplessness. So these are the few things that someone who is getting bullied, the victim of bullying, may show you these signs. Now, what about the bullies? Now, even they do show you some signs. They have aggressive behavior. All right. They have frequent detention or frequent disciplinary actions towards them. They are the one who loves to they are the one, they mostly have disciplinary problems with them. They like to break rules and they are highly aggressive in nature. All right. And then sometimes bully can also have a tendency to blame others for their problem. Kids, like, when you ask them, when you question them, and when someone has done something, where rather than accepting it, when they throw it on someone else, and when they put it on someone else's hand, put it on someone else's shoe, that can also be a sign that the person is has bullying tendency. All right. And then, like, the another thing that, now, looking out for these signs and symptoms are very important. Another very important thing is that creating a safe space, like Dipshika said, to have a council, to have some sort of school counselor or something like that, where there's a positive climate, positive school climate, or institutional climate for the victims of bullying, that they should feel safe to come out. The one of the reason why bullying is so prevalent is that the victims always feel that they are the problem. They feel that they have done something wrong, and people would make fun of them, or their image would be in sake, I mean, like, in problem, if they come out as they are being bullied by someone. All right, be it physical bullying, be it verbal, be it sexual, be it social, be it cyberbullying, anything, any sort of bullying. So creating a safe environment is something which is very important in school. Keeping the confidentiality of the kid, whoever comes out as he or she is getting bullied by someone else, keeping that as anonymous, and so that people do not know about this person, and the person feels safe. Whatever he or she is disclosing it, to an extent, it is safe, right? And then to have a clear anti-ragging or anti-bullying policies. It's not just in school, but even in, like, colleges, universities, you'll see ragging, you'll see bullying. There's a lot of these behavior which is still prevalent in a lot of institutions. So to have clear policies that if someone is bullying someone, if someone is ragging someone, there is going to be, a reporting to higher authorities, and there is going to be detention, and there is going to be some sort of action which is going to be taken for them, so that such behavior is not appreciated and not being taken for granted. All right. The another very important thing is that a lot of time institutions keep things among themselves. They don't disclose it to parents, right? So I think involvement of parents is very important here, both for the victims and and also for the bullies. If a child is getting bullied, if a child is a victim of bullying, his or her parents should also know that child is in emotional distress. And if a bully, if a kid who is bullying others, even their parents should also be involved. And in both the cases, everyone should have a proper way of dealing with the whole situation. Even for the bullies, even for the kids who are bullying other, empathy is very much needed, kindness is very much needed, and and strict disciplinary actions are also needed, right? So because we have to understand why a kid who is bullying others, where is it coming from, where did it get conditioned, what, from where is the problem, coming from. Only if we give them hardcore punishment, only if we give them, negative reinforcement, that is just going to stop that behavior on a superficial level. Those traits and everything are still going to be in the mind and in the behavior. It's just now that he knows that there's going to be consequences, he's not going to act on it. He's going to find someone else, he's going to find some other victim. Right. So we have to understand the cause of bullying, like where is the kid learning from these things? And for these things, counseling is very much needed, and even a family counseling is needed. Where the parents are involved, both of victims and bullies, the families are involved, and where the parents are getting introduced to these things, like that your kid is attributing some these sort of behaviors, and which can lead to very dangerous consequences in the future, right? The another thing is that to organize, to have workshops to spread aware, it comes under this awareness program only. But again, to even give proper counseling and proper family therapy, and proper guidance to the parents, not just to the kids, but to the parents, so that because they can help the kids in the household. When the kids are in the home, they can make them understand, and they can address the issue. Why is a kid behaving that way? Why is someone is so aggressive, or so, hot-headed, or why is someone, demeaning someone? What is the cause of it, and what does the person get out of it? So all of these things need to be seen, need to be addressed, and then only a case of bullying will be completely, handled, properly handled, taken care of. Only by giving punishment, only by detention, only by removing the kid from the campus or from the school is not going to, eliminate such traits. One should understand that one should look beyond that punishments and stuff, because if today the kid understand that I cannot bully this particular victim, if the problem is not solved on a complete base, only on a superficial base, if the problem is solved, the bully is going to target another victim. He can leave this victim and can move on to another victim. So to understand this phenomena properly, we have to address it from the root. All right. So, and yes, collaborative programs and workshop with mental health professional, having a school counselor, having proper seminars and workshop for the kids, for the staff, for the parents, everyone, can be differently, can be together, however they want to take it forward, but to actually conduct workshop and seminars where awareness has been spread about bullying and consequences have been shared, what are the things that's happening and stuff like that. And then and if so, things are not if then also if a kid is persistently attributing these traits and this behavior and it's not being handled, then the school counselor need to refer, consult, and put them into proper counseling or proper therapy kind of a situation, because maybe there are things which needs to be addressed before the child gets
I think Yeja ma'am's network is like
yeah.
so.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, there was an internet glitch. Anyway, so wrapping up, my answer to these things is that awareness is must. You know, proper policies are very important. Teachers and institutional staff should look out for signs and symptoms of bullying. You know, creating a safe space, then parental involvement, and definitely workshops and seminars which involve and which addresses these problems are very, very important. So yeah, I think that's all from my end.
Thank you, Yeja ma'am. So, as you mentioned, like it is very important as a teacher or a staff of a particular institution to look into the signs and symptoms of bullying, and also specifically, be aware or be, have an understanding about bullying. So most of the time, as you mentioned, like they take the victim itself, and also the teachers or the parents, they don't take bullying seriously. They take it as a fun activity, and they mostly, parents and teachers specifically, they take it as a fun activity, and they like, you all are kids now, so it's like you all are enjoying, or the other person is just pulling your leg. So it is something we should, like, we or the teachers or the staff of that particular institution should realize that not every fun activity which seems like fun is actually making the victim or the other person happy, or like it is kind of affecting the victim. And also we should not only focus on the victim, also look at the bully, because sometimes, as I mentioned before, the bullying behavior mostly comes from the environment the kid is brought up with. So like you mentioned, they need to be, like, get proper counseling. And also we also need to, yes, I forgot to mention something important, as Yeja ma'am mentioned it. We should also know the difference between bullying and something which was not intentional. So as bullying is something which is repetitive and which is intentional. More specifically, it is intentional, and something that is unintentional is not bullying. But if you intentionally try to harm someone else, be it mentally or physically, it is bullying. So then coming to the last question of this evening, uh, it is something which is very important, and it, like, specifically comes to our mind whenever we think about bullying or physical violence in school. So what are the roles that the parents or the guardians, like, they play in addressing bullying incidents and supporting prevention efforts?
Yes, Alankrita, I would like to go ahead with that question. Okay, so far we have seen that the involvement of the parents is like a big part. It plays like a big part in the scenario of bullying. So, as we say, as you've also mentioned, that the environment matters a lot. So, where does the children learn their behavior, or where does the behavior comes from? Mostly from their environment and their parents. So I feel like it is, the parents should play the first role model of the child is always the parent. So I feel like it is sort of their duty to have like a build like a proper role model for for their kids, and they should show or like set examples of like being respectful, having an empathetic behavior. And that's how they can like influence their children's interactions. Like if the child sees that their parent is, fighting with the neighbor, or like, talking in like a very negative way about someone they've just met, or if like the parent tends to, abuse their like siblings or someone, so the child is going to, learn from it. Obviously, we also know that being, students of psychology, it's like very common that the child will always learn the first behavior patterns from the parents. So modeling behavior or being a good role model is very important. And then communication, giving that space, giving that open space where the child feels very safe to, say or report about bullying. So suppose if they've been facing bullying for a long time, but they're not able to, open up in front of their parents because they don't have that kind of connection, or they are not given that kind of space at home. So the child is likely to suffer and the cycle will just go on and on. So if the parents provide like a safe environment at home where the child, always can speak up or say whatever they're going through, I feel like the cycle of bullying, or like, the bullying um, process would just stop in the initial phase only, because reporting to parents would involve in reporting to the school and so on. And then comes education. So as we've said, it's important to like not only look at the victim but as well as the bully. As a parent, if you have a child who is a bully to someone, it's your responsibility to like, educate the child about the bullying and why is it wrong, and not defend the child's behavior. It's quite common to see that parents are very defensive about their child's behavior. My son is good or my daughter is good, she was just having fun, she didn't mean anything. Instead of saying that, they should be, educated. Why is it important and how is it going to affect others? And not only educating, and then monitoring your child's behavior also, like actively involving in their social lives, and then sometimes that would help to notice the signs of bullying. For example, as a parent, if you're noticing that your child has all of a sudden become very withdrawn, and they're avoiding their friends that they used to play with usually, or they're saying that I'm not going to class from tomorrow without any reason. So that's like a big, red flag, right? That's like a big sign that something's wrong with the child. So as a parent, it's the parent's duty to look into the matter, and like have try to have a conversation, and first of all, give them that support, that I'm there for you no matter what, whatever you're going through, you can open up with me. So like monitoring is very important. And then if we look at the parenting style and the environment, research shows that authoritative parenting style, the parenting style which involves nurturing the child as well as setting some limits, has found to, um, has found to be the most effective parenting style. And this parenting style also allows the child to be, allows the child to open up, as well as, learn about the, because the parent is going to say, sometimes no, the parent is going to be like, no, you've done that wrong, like, let me correct you, or let me, make you understand why this is wrong. So that kind of parenting style is, known to have like, very healthy, and very mentally sound or well kids. So I feel like this is something which the parents can, um, maybe they can, while I've talked about role models, so I feel like something parenting style which are authoritative in nature might, bring up kids who would most likely be reporting about bullying, or who would most likely recognize themselves that if they're bullying, that they are doing something wrong. So there's that. And as I've said before, also, like, collaboration with schools is very important. At the end of the day, if we talk about in schools, it's the adults, it's the role of the parents, it's the role of the staff, it's the role of the school authorities who are going to, step in and stop bullying, because sometimes a child may not even understand that they're being bullied. They may not know. Without the interference or intervention from the parent, they might just, keep on going through that. They might just think that that is something normal, or that is something that they deserve, because, like, some children might have very low self-esteem, and they feel like, okay, whatever is happening is like very justified, it should happen with me. So such a thing can be there. So at the end of the day, it's the duty of the adults, and just, uh, having or opening certain, policies or maybe forums won't do. The parents would have to be very mindful. The child would the staff would have to be very mindful. Even in their, classrooms, they should try to spot, because bullying can be, like, very micro also, like micro and passive bullying can also be there. It may not be, straight up physical violence. It starts with very small things, like demeaning someone, catcalling, or like maybe pulling someone's hair repeatedly, and just going on and then end up kicking that person. So it can just, move up on a ladder. So it's like, I feel like it's the duty of the adults, the staff in or the staff or the teachers in the schools, and parents at home. So with this collaboration effort, I feel like there is, like, if the effort is put in the right direction, I feel like there is a lot of hope that bullying can be reduced. And then support. At the end, parents are the one who always are like the foundation, or like the a child, no matter what, would always want that support, or will always look for that support from their parents. No matter their peers or friends, whoever is there, they would always prefer to, go to their parent and receive that emotional support, you know and so it is, as I've said before, it is the duty of the parent to, like, not only model their behavior, not only give them education, or not only monitor and help them communicate, but that emotional support, just to give that reassurance that I'm there for you and I'm there with you. Even that can help, in just that can give us, like, the first step, or the first way to stop bullying. I hope, like, that answered your question.
Thank you, Dipshika ma'am. Yes, definitely. It is very important for us as adults to step up and take actions, because, like you mentioned, sometimes the victim himself or herself doesn't know that he or she is being bullied. So it might, like you mentioned, it might, come from like small. It start with something very small, like, cat calling, teasing, and then hair pulling, and then ultimately, lead to something which will physically affect the victim. So yes, collaborative, meeting, or specifically awareness. And then also, like you mentioned, modeling behavior is important, like as a role model. Like, parents are specifically, or parents or their caretakers are the role model, first role model of a child. So they should actually, make or create a safe space or safe environment for the child, where the child feels like he or she is being hurt, or he or she is, she can say anything that comes to their mind. Also, like you mentioned, authoritarian uh, parenting style. Yes, it is very important to set boundaries, because for until and unless the child is matured enough, it is, difficult for the child to understand what is wrong and what is right. So we have to teach them that. So as a parent or as a guardian or as a caretaker, we have to make sure that we, set boundaries whenever we see a child, being really aggressive towards someone, be it anyone. We need to, talk to them directly and tell them that this is wrong. You cannot be aggressive. So, you can get angry. It's okay to get angry, but your behavior is something that might harm or affect the other person. So, it is very important that you should, not, it's not about controlling emotions. You can get angry, you can get frustrated, you can get, irritated, but hitting someone or verbally abusing someone is wrong. So also, like you mentioned, like Yeja ma'am mentioned, so it is very important to recognize, sometimes uh, the victim is not able to express. So we need to look into that. If the child is, constantly feeling the need to, skip school, or social, stops socializing, or, doesn't like to do things that, he or she was interested before, likes to be alone, doesn't talk much. So we, or the teachers or the parents, they need to step up and they have a talk with the child, or, uh, just ask the child if something is going on. Because most of the time, the victims, they don't, they feel like, if they talk about the things that has been going on with them, or that has, they have been going through, they might, be misunderstood, or, they might have, they might be laughed at. Most of the time it's like, I'll be laughed at, because like, this is a behavior which is like, they are just trying to make fun of me. Maybe I am the problem, maybe I am not able to understand. So it is very important. And also, coming to the bully, so it is important that we teach the bullies, or we, educate the bullies, that their behavior, or, their, the way they have been behaving, or the way they have been acting up lately, is something which is not right. Okay, and parents need to understand that there should be, they should be made aware when to get defensive for their child. If you are trying to defend your child from from their wrongdoings, then you are someone who is also in the wrong. So it is very important to make the, parents and the teachers as well aware of the bullying, or of the idea of bullying. Because most of the time, like I mentioned before, the victim might end up taking extreme steps. So now, these are some of the key points I would like our viewers to keep in, as well as us to keep in mind. So, first is like, we have to, create teachers as well as caretakers, or guardians or parents should, have an awareness or understanding about bullying. What is bullying, and how it affects both the bully and the, you know victim. Also, we have to, like, recognize the signs. Also, the third point is like, we have to create a safe space for them. We have we need to also look into, the matter like, if a child specifically, when it comes to school counselors, it is very important for an institution, not only a school but every institution or every organization should have a counselor, because it is very important to, us as a mental health enthusiast, if want we are working for the betterment of the people, and we need to keep in mind that, the things that might affect a person's mental health, right? So it is very important for us, or it is very important for the counselor to, you know educate the people, or to you or to, just give a, brief idea. Sometimes the parents or the teachers, they might not agree for a collaborative meeting or sessions. So it is very important that the counselor takes a, very strong step in, educating them about bullying and physical violence. Also, to mention, cyberbullying nowadays is, like, repetitive. It is a, thing like which have been happening constantly. A lot of, people are being cyberbullied, specifically because this, one who is the bullies, they think that they'll never get caught. Their face is not seen. They'll create a fake account, and they'll, do anything, harass the, person, or, abuse the person through social media platform, just because sometimes bullies do it because they think it is fun. So proper steps and actions should be taken for that too. Also, in conclusion, I like to add that it is a bullying and physical violence in schools. It takes, to stop bullying and physical violence in school. It is like a concerted efforts which needs to be, like, from all, which needs to come from all the, people around, like the educators, the parents, the students, and also as well as community members. So when we foster an environment or a culture of, respect, empathy, and proactive intervention, we can, create safer environment where every students, they feel like they are being valued and being protected. So that's all from my end. Finally, I'd like to extend my sincerest gratitude to our speakers for enlightening us with your knowledgeable words. So, last but not the least, I want to thank, our viewers for their love and support. So, also a request to all the viewers: if you are being bullied, or you know someone who is being bullied, so you can just, go through different, Google on different helpline, numbers, or you can just Google like how, helpline, numbers for bullying, and, talk to them, or, just call them. If again, if you all feel like you're not being heard, the team of Psychspace is here with you all. We are available at, every social media platform, and you can also, follow us, on our Instagram page for latest updates and information. And for any professional help, be it anything, remember that we are just a DM away. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you so much, Alamrita, for hosting it so wonderfully. So yeah, I think Alamrita has basically summed up the whole session and everything. It's just the one last thing I want to add from my end is that bullying is an act which is learned behavior. So whenever we talk about bullying, even people don't understand this, that it's been learned from someone else or it's been projecting from somewhere else. So parents, if you see your kids going through something, or parents, if you see your kids are very indisciplined or are very hard, you know for them to understand, or for hard for them to take up the rules and go through, have a very has a lot of disciplinary problems in their behavior, please reach out to us. Please take professional help because it's not something that is cannot be reversed or cannot have a proper, it's not a lifelong thing that will happen. There can be a lot of positive outcome through therapy, through counseling, and yes, it is a learned experience and it is a learned behavior. So it is as much as it's important for the kids to understand, for the kids to have psychoeducation about bullying. I think parents and the environment at home and surrounding is also very, very important for the kids to understand like what bullying is and how they and the parents and the guardian should look out for that as well. Because your behavior sometimes can be mirrored by your child. So yeah, I think that's all from our end. Thank you so much for whoever is watching. And thank you so much, Alampita, for hosting it so wonderfully. So yes, the team of SciSplate would like to thank everyone who watched. And yes, good night.